After a week where it felt like everything was in disarray, the offense came alive for the Houston Texans, powered by franchise quarterback who loves the city, CJ Stroud.
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Battle Red Nation! From H-Town to Yorktown, today's episode and every episode of the Locked On Texans podcast is for Texans fans all around. If y'all don't understand why I'm excited, it's Victory Monday. The Houston Texans take care of business at home in the NRG Stadium, beating the 5-2 San Francisco 49ers to get 3-4 on the season. The playoffs are still in reach. But I'm your Texas Credential Media member and football analyst, John Hickman. Shout out to my everydayers from the Himalayas for making the Locked On Texans podcast your first listen of the day, your team every day. To all of the newcomers out there in Texans world, come on in, sit down, get comfortable, because today we are celebrating Victory Monday. On today's episode, I'll be diving into, after a week of noise the Texans put up while everybody else had to shut up. The defensive performance, locking down CMC. We'll hear from D'Amico Ryans on that. And also his thoughts on the 2025 draft class. The young boys, they're coming. They came. And they helped the Houston Texans get to a win Sunday afternoon. But I'll open up today's show just looking at, no matter how you put it, no matter what you say, the Texans just beat a team that was 5-2. They just beat a team who found ways to beat Seattle when they opened up the season banged up. They found ways to beat the LA Rams. They found ways to beat two teams the Houston Texans had trouble putting up points against. The Houston Texans found a way to put up 26 points on a defense that only allows 20 points on the season. The Houston Texans found a way to shut down CMC. The Houston Texans found a way to not let Mac Jones have one of those games where you look back and say to yourself, oh my goodness, how did they do that? How did they let Mac Jones have this type of performance? The Houston Texans found a way to put to bed all of the chaos, all of the issues, all of the negative narratives coming into Sunday's matchup. They found a way to get past not having Nico Collins, get past not having Christian Kirk. They found a way to put up points. And that is where I'm going to start. 157 rushing yards for the Houston Texans on the ground, 4.4 yards per carry. The yards before contact per rush, 2.61, second best for the season. The offense, 9 of 16 on third downs. Here's the number that everybody should be jumping a joy to the ceiling for if you still got some type of athleticism in you. 0 sacks on the day for CJ Stroud. Kept upright all day. Only 10 pressures allowed. Second best of the season. 318 passing yards. And I'm going to be real with you. We could have gotten 400 if the Houston Texans ain't realized that we don't got to go out there and pass all over the field, because our running backs are giving us exactly what we need. 16 passing first downs. 146 yak yards, highest of the season. Zeros across the board for rookie Aireontae Ersery. And again, guys, I don't care how you put it. Any of the narratives that we can spin or not, coming into this game, the Houston Texans were viewed as a terrible team. Coming into this game, even with the injuries, they still took on a 5-2 San Francisco 49er team, and they found a way to beat them. This is what I saw today from the Houston Texans. I saw a team that understood the weakness of their opponent, and they did a very good job of exploiting that weakness. So what was the weakness, if you ask? Well, I just told you guys, 0 sacks, only 10 pressures allowed. And even though the Houston Texans rotated left guards, and I'm still against that, they found a way to win at the line of scrimmage. More times than not, the offensive line created the push. more times than not, especially in the second half, but more times than not, the offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage in terms of the ability to pass block for their quarterback. This was a performance. When you look at how it came together, no Nico Collins. Okay, well, who do I got to work with? No Christian Kirk. While I'm down my top two projected receivers coming into the season. The question marks all week. Why aren't we seeing more of the rookies? Nick Haley and the offensive coaching staff was forced to have to put those guys out there for the Houston Texans. And how it turned out for Houston is exactly how many of us thought it would look for Houston to kick off this year. You look at the receivers, Jalen Noah, 5 catches, 63 yards. Xavier Hutchinson at the party, 5 catches, 69 yards, 1 TD. Jaden Higgins, 8 targets, led the team in targets, 4 catches, 34 yards. And then we also got to highlight Nick Kelly doing an amazing job. And I do want to give a lot of credit to CJ Stroud here, motioning Jaden Higgins from the outside of the right side of the offense, motioning him to the left side of the offense in the slot, getting that favorable matchup. And he does a very good job, of running somewhat of a skinny post, or maybe a bang A, however you want to look at it, to get the touchdown. Great offensive performance. This is just my initial reaction to this game. Great offensive performance. This is what happens when you have an offensive line that can give this quarterback and CJ Stroud time. This is also what happens when, and this is very important, you stress your means. It was important for the Houston Texans to say, hey, we cannot rely on these veterans that we brought in. They're not going to get us over the hump. I do want to add, though, Braxton Berrios had a good day for Houston in terms of impact, not necessarily numbers or whatever, but impact. Braxton Berrios, 4 catches, 3 of those catches went for first downs, right? Xavier Hutchinson, he had a good day. But it was important for them to get the ball to Jaden Higgins. It was important for Houston to build on the performance from last week that Jalen Noah, or on last Monday, that Jalen Noah put on against Seattle, right? That's something the Houston Texans hadn't done with the receivers to this point. We will see a young receiver make a good play, have a good moment in the game, and then the following week, we're questioning why aren't we seeing them more. Houston Texans build it on Jalen Noah's performance from last week. Got the rookie Higgins involved. And I'm also going to say this. I've said it before, and I'm going to echo it. The best version of Woody Marks is not just lining him up to run behind the offensive line. If you don't find a way, and I'm talking about the offense, if the offense does not find a way to creatively or just outright check it down to him, get him the ball in the passing game, then you are going to sell this offense short. You're going to sell Woody Marks, who I consider a playmaker, short. You won't get the best version of a guy that does so many different things because you're putting him into a box. Speaking of Woody Marks, I want you guys to hear a short interview that I had with Woody Marks after Sunday's victory. Hey, Woody, the game you had today, over 100 yards, total yards, impacted on the ground, impacted through the air. What does this just say about your game when Houston kind of utilized you in every different facet of the game?
Very versatile. I say they did a good job. I think CJ did a good job finding me whenever I get out the backfield.
Now, the offensive line, they played well, kept CJ Stroud upright, especially in the second half, gave you guys some good running lanes to run through. Can you just talk about the job that the offensive line did today for you guys?
Just execution, taking the coaching all week and the coaching even on the sideline during the game. For what times that we did get beat, then come back out there and execute. It was really outstanding for them guys and just stepping in the line of scrimmage.
D'Amico Ryans always talks about, head coach D'Amico Ryans, always talks about, what this offense can look like when you guys execute and don't play behind the numbers a lot. Can you dive a little bit more into that and just how you guys were able to execute today to be able to put up the amount of points you did on the defense as only allows 20 points on the year?
Just playing penalty free, doing your job, not focusing on somebody else's job, but doing your job, and all 11 to come together. Everybody doing their job is going to execute right, and not playing the undisciplined type of game. Just going up there and being physical.
How's your relationship with Nick Chubb as a veteran in the room? What have you been able to learn from him and lean on as the season progresses?
Oh, we got a tight relationship. I'll say all of us. All of us in that room, we got a tight relationship. Play around a lot, but strictly work sometimes. But just taking pass pro from him, really great pass pro person, really outside zone, knowing when to cut back, real good pad level, and just keep finishing forward.
Last question for you. What does this type of win do for the team? Not only for the defensive side of the ball, we also know the offensive struggles, but you guys were, again, executing, playing in rhythm, controlling the tempo. You guys go back and look at the tape. What would you see from this game that you want to build off on for next week and the weeks after that?
Just taking a step. I would just winning 1%. I would say us as an offense and just handling the game, controlling the game, controlling the defense. Don't got them on their heels, got them on their toes. They don't know what we're doing. I'll say they can go on week by week, just controlling the game, not letting the defense determine what we got to do.
I said last question. Last question for real here. A lot of criticism for Nick Caddy this week, the first-time play caller, offensive coordinator. From your perspective, how good of a job did he do today for you guys offensively?
He does a great job. Today he did a great job. Just leaning, just trusting the running game, trusting the line, and I think them guys are really fired up. We get 5 yards pop, so don't run away from it. Keep going. Then when we gotta go away from it, if we got something going over top, and I think he called great plays today.
On the other side of today's episode, I'm going to dive into a few of the comments made by D'Amico Ryans, looking at his defense, how great of a job that they did eliminating any impact CMC could have, and also diving into the 2025 rookie class. We got Locked On Texans. We're celebrating a win. Turn up, Texan fans, because I'm with y'all. I told y'all I was going to be with y'all, and we got more Texans talk on the opposite side. Before we get to that Texans talk, I hope some of y'all took the time this weekend to just make your game days a little bit more exciting. I know I did, and I did that with Prize Picks. Let me tell you something. We make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. If you're in a relationship and you hit your partner with a "I told you so," at the end of the day, it's just a broke "I told you so." You ain't make no money off that. But with Prize Picks, you can get paid for being right. Don't miss any of the excitement this sports season, whether you're following NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stat projections. And if you win, if you get it right, guess what? You're getting paid. You win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup. You can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. The new Stacks feature is a game changer. You can pick more on Steph's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Download the Prize Pick app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Oh, Texas fans, you know what also is good to be? Ready when the time presents itself. Let's be real, man. Making excuses don't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs that extra support. And that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatment for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Right there. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, it's simple, and most importantly, it's private. It's all handled by real doctors. So visit Rougiette, that's Rugiette, rougiet.com/locked-on to get 15% off your first order. rougiet.com/locked-on-NFL. And don't forget to use our code LOCKEDONNFL so they know we sent you. Rougiet, stop making excuses. Start making moves. Battle Red Nation, welcome back to today's episode. And I'm on the side of Rougiet, Texans. Y'all stop making those excuses on Sunday. Start making moves. And I'm going to say this. Texan fans, stop making these excuses and start making moves to get y'all tail up in the NRG Stadium. Because great win for the Houston Texans Sunday. But it was in front of a bunch of San Francisco 49er fans. Hello? Get out to the game. Now, defensively, listen here, guys. We know that San Fran dealing with a bunch of injuries, and we know that their go-to guy, their X factor, has been Christian McCaffrey, right? We know that. We also know that Mac Jones has played some good football for San Francisco. Nothing too crazy, I don't think. I think that he's done well in his role. But with that being said, the number 2 receiver for San Francisco has been Kendrick Bourne. And if we look at the impact that Bourne has had over the last few games, we look at the Tampa Bay game, 142 receiving yards. Against the Rams, 142 yards. Didn't have that much of an impact against Atlanta, but on several occasions this year, he's had big moments. The Houston Texans didn't allow him to get going at all, guys. So that's number one. We have to acknowledge how the Houston Texans did a very good job of just neutralizing just any of the current playmakers for the San Francisco 49ers. 2 sacks on Mac Jones, 1 interception, a QBR of 74, a quarterback rating of 84. But the number that's most important, under 70 total yards for Christian McCaffrey. 25 rushing yards for Christian McCaffrey. Trent Williams, eventual Hall of Famer, no impact on the game in terms of being able to elevate the offensive line Sunday against Christian McCaffrey. On Tuesday's show, make sure you come back because I have a little short interview with EJ Speed, who I think played very well for the Houston Texans. The defensive tackles up front for Houston, they did a great job of, again, knocking the offensive line for San Francisco back at the line of scrimmage. But DeMeco Ryans, who praised CMC throughout the week, I asked him about, what went into the game plan throughout the week to limit Christian McCaffrey, and also, asked him about the rookies as well. This is what he had to say.
Christian's a great player, phenomenal player. I talked about it all throughout the week, and we knew we had to stop him. Run game, passing game, we knew he would be their highest targeted guy, and we were able to hold him. I don't think he had got many yards today, but it was a collective effort from everyone, starting with the defensive line, really disrupting the run game up front, and then I think we tackled really well. And he had a couple check downs there in the 2-minute drive, but overall thought we tackled really well versus a really great player. And for us, when you're able to win third downs, which is always a huge key to winning the game, it allows you to stay on the field. It allows you to sustain drives. And in games where we've done that, we're able to stay on the field and just continue to press forward and end drives with points. So that's the importance of third down. And for our young guys in this draft class, they're continuing to get better. They're growing. They're stepping up, making big plays for us. And Jalen Noel, he's jumping off the tape for the past couple weeks of making some big-time plays for us. It's the things you saw him do at Iowa State is showing up, the explosiveness, him down the field, his return ability, just all across. And you can tell they're all getting more comfortable with what they're asked to do, and they're really flourishing in their roles.
Shout out to DeMeco Ryans there for just looking at, some of the maybe small to some people, but it really matters at the end of the day. But just the nuances of how the defense was able to kind of create the containment for Christian McCaffrey. he's always, if he's on the field, he's going to give San Francisco an opportunity to stay in the game offensively, especially when you look at him getting ahead of steam. And I know I said he had under 70 total yards, which he did, but you got to look towards the end of the game. They just kind of allowed, they had a missed tackle here and there. I think, and Aziz did a great job on CMC whenever there was option routes out of the backfield. There was one play where I saw Aziz, Christian McCaffrey, was lined up wide, lined up in the slot, but he was lined up as a receiver, and saw Aziz just play it to perfection. And if he doesn't, you look at CMC catching that ball and doing a great job of getting yak yards. And by the way, you look at the Houston Texans, he talked about doing a great job, DeMeco Ryans, of tackling. Yeah, on the day, they only had about 46, maybe a little bit over 50 to 60 yak yards on the day for San Francisco. So Houston did a very good job of containing any ball carrier on the day, pass catcher for San Francisco. Then you look at the defense. San Fran, one of the better third down offenses in the NFL, 39 on third down against Houston. 5.1 yards per play against Houston. Only 223 total yards against Houston. Houston dominated the time of possession 41-18. It just was an overall great day for the Houston Texans defense. It really was. And I think, the secondary against Seattle, they had a rough day. I thought that they cleaned up on some things, especially communication down the field. Still worried about Derek Stingley's oblique injury. I think that's really impacting his game. I really do. But overall, I think Kamari had a better day. The linebackers, I thought, played phenomenal. The defensive line, again, talk about what those guys were able to do. You look at Will Anderson, Will Anderson had a ton of pressures against that front. Right, didn't always result in sacks, but in my notes watching the game, I'm looking at several plays where if Mac Jones had a split second more time, that could be a completion. But because Will Anderson is coming off that edge as fast as he is, he's getting to the throwing lanes of that quarterback, of Mac Jones, and he's knocking his hand down, or he's getting to his face, and now Mac Jones is just kind of launching a prayer out there because he don't have a good sight on the receiver. Will Anderson had one of those game-wrecking type of moments, a game for Houston today. The numbers may not go crazy, and I'm looking at some of the numbers right now. On the day for Will Anderson, again, 1 tackle. That's on the day, but that's a sack. 3 QB hits. Again, precious as well for the Houston Texans. Jalen Petrie with a great day, 1 tackle for loss, 8 total tackles. I shouted out EJ Speed. He had 2 tackles, but his presence was felt. He also did a very good job in terms of special teams. He also did a very good job of just being where he needs to be. So maybe some of those open throwing lanes for Mac Jones isn't there. Kamari Lassiter, I talk about a guy that he may get beat deep once or twice a game, but you're not going to get a bunch of yak yards on him. If he's around you, you're coming down. And he also had a tackle for loss with a pass deflection and an interception for the Houston Texans. This was one of those days where everybody stepped up. It was all hands on deck collective fight, and Houston came out victorious. And the defense, I think, just did what they were supposed to do. Contain Christian McCaffrey. Don't let him bounce outside, right? Make them run up the middle, and our guys, defensive tackles and linebackers, just be where they need to be. I thought Henry T had a good day as well. Nothing too crazy, but I thought it was positive. And I thought Aziz had a good day as well for the Houston Texans. When we come back, it was a lot of noise this entire week for DeMeco, for CJ, myself, talking about Nick Caserio and his future. Let's talk about just what it means to go out and have the victory after losing how they lost on Monday, and the media really being hard on Houston throughout the week. We got more Locked On Texans talk to close out today's show. So I told y'all, hey, look, I need for y'all to start getting to the games. I need for y'all to start being on time. If you're going to tailgate, get out there early enough to where you can turn up, But at noon, be on time. Okay. Well, maybe I just want to go tailgate because I can't get no tickets. Well, Game Time makes it easy for you to get tickets. Real easy to get tickets. NFL season is here. Texans season is here. Their playoff run and their homestand is here. Not a better place to be right now than NRG Stadium, surrounded by Texan fans cheering on your team. Getting tickets, I understand it can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and also prices jumping at checkout. It can become frustrating. That's why I use it, and I always tell you guys about it. Game Time. The app gives all of the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. The app made it super simple. You can even view your seat before you purchase your ticket. I pulled up Game Time, and also in a couple tabs, I saw different amazing deals. Excuse me. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Plus, the NBA is back. There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL. If you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps everything exciting. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making a late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Closing out today's episode, just looking at, after a week of noise the Texans put up, and a lot of us who criticized them, rightfully so, needs to shut up. So my criticism of CJ Stroud last week, he's drifting back too much. He's making a bad situation worse in terms of sacks. The offensive line did a good job of making sure that the lanes inside the box were pretty operable for CJ Stroud. CJ rushed for 30 yards against San Fran, but I thought he did just a great job of navigating throughout the pocket, in and around the pocket, and being decisive when he knew it was time for him to step up, either take off or step up and throw the ball downfield. He kept his eyes downfield for any opportunity to let that ball launch. I think the one that we can all agree was just a beautiful pitch and catch, the throw to Jalen Noel on the left sideline, where he steps up and it's somewhat of a floater, but he drops it right into the bucket of Jalen Noel. I believe that was Jalen Noel. Moments like that is where, okay, CJ, you put up, I got to shut up. I have to say, do it again because I know you can do it. And I think the relationship right now between DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud, as much as they are trying to figure it out, if you go to the Texans admin page on social media, you just see a coach that knows my quarterback can do exactly what I know great quarterbacks can do. He just has to do it consistently. And we have to create a better atmosphere and an environment for him to be comfortable enough to do these things consistently. The roster that they put together isn't the greatest. Coaching is going to have to bring the best out of these guys. But moments like today is why it's important for us to acknowledge when the Houston Texans do good things. When they do bad, we're going to acknowledge it. That's the way of the media. Sometimes when teams do well or players do better, we kind of gloss over it a little bit. Not myself, but in the media that happens. But what I liked about today in the Sunday's game was everything that was acknowledged, discussed, and for some people called for jobs. all of those different conversations and discourse, everything was addressed in this game. Now, who told y'all they was going to beat the San Francisco 49ers? If you go look at the last 4 shows from the Texan Squad show, and also here on the Locked On Texan podcast, you've heard me say, Seattle isn't the get-right game for Houston. Seattle will be a competitive game, but I'm picking Houston to lose that game. San Francisco was always the game for Houston to get right. And again, it's how they got right. Okay, Houston, no Nico, no Kirk. That forced, and I think this is an area of growth for CJ Stroud that we need to acknowledge, and I'll do it a little bit more throughout the week. But that forced CJ Stroud to have to read the field, not get locked in on one receiver. My offensive line is giving me time to find out which of these guys that I'm still trying to build that on-field chemistry with is open, and I can trust to get the ball to and trust him to make plays. We saw it Sunday. This also forced the coaching staff to say, man, you know what, guys, we can't hide them no more. We got to play these young guys. So now the question marks of, why aren't we seeing the rookies? You know, you wasted the top 100 picks. They had to play them, and the rookies made plays. Again, Aireontae Ersery, 0 sacks, 0s across the board, actually, for Ersery. I don't think he allowed a pressure. Woody Marks, over 100 total yards. And he also rushed the ball fairly well, especially in the fourth quarter when Houston was trying to put the ball away. You really saw him get busy. Did a great job in the passing game for Houston. Again, Jalen Noel, his impact. Jaden Higgins. And if you remember, guys, my everyday has heard me say this. I've always thought he was a better red zone target than Nico Collins. So at the very least, you get inside the 20. For every first down Houston gets, he may need to get a target. But you look at the imprint that he left on the game, right? And overall, just a gutsy win and a lot of be quiet, guys. We are going to figure this thing out. DeMeco Ryans even talked about it. I didn't want to play that clip. I may play it tomorrow, but he talked about it, man. The outside noise, rightfully so. When we get it, we hear it, we look at it. We got our job to do. But this was an impressive win. Like, I'm not going to overlook it. Not on this show. This was a 5-2 team that is, and you talk about a week of noise. Some of y'all wanted DeMeco fired. Some people wanted to move on from CJ. And I'm in that category to move on from Nick Caserio. But San Fran, nobody wants to move on from John Lynch. Nobody wants to move on from Kyle Shanahan, given the last 2 seasons, the rosters, the players have been breaking down. Nobody wants to move on from that. Everybody said, well-coached team, they find ways to get it done. The system is a system, and quarterbacks can thrive in a system. They didn't against Houston. They didn't against the Texans. So their situation was looked upon as great. Houston's situation with a franchise quarterback this season was not looked upon in a favorable light. So now that Houston won the game, we cannot overlook how they won that game and what comes with it. They're back in the playoff hunt. Thank y'all for watching, listening to today's episode of the Locked On Texans podcast. Subscribe, like, and comment on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow me on Twitter at John_Hickman12, and also on Instagram at SomeSportsGuy. Let's have a great week, Texas fans. It's Victory Monday. Send a text message to all your friends who teams didn't win. Y'all teams ain't win. Sucks to be them, but not a Texas fan. Peace.